Welcome everybody to Cryptic Corner, where we explore the world of the unexplained, the supernatural, paranormal, and hidden, the mysterious, the alien, the accursed, and the forbidden. I am your host, the Bumblebee, and I like to explore some of these unexplained claims and try to find some truth underneath. Yeah, so thank you for joining me tonight. I appreciate everybody for popping in. I got a hop inside chat right now too, so it's good to see everybody. And today we just finished last week our cat section for the Halloween season, which we had three episodes. The first one was about this Irish demon cat and this ritual that's supposed to summon these demon cats and whatnot. And then we talked about this mysterious cryptid of a cat from Scotland as well, which is ironic because both of these are from Scotland, but completely separate phenomenon. But just shows how important cats were to Scottish folklore, I guess. And then we had last week, we had the ghost cat of Washington D.C., right, that appears before assassinations, and it seems to be the result of someone's misrepresentation and just kind of the lore building around it. But if you want to know my opinions and my thoughts on that, please, I'll drop the link somewhere, maybe up there or in the side chat or whatever. But there'll be a link to it. So yeah. But now we are continuing on because it's still the spooky season. We're still in the thick of October. It's only the 14th. So we got lots of spooky stuff left to come. I'm going to continue this on for the rest of the month because I love Halloween. Yeah, that's just the way I am. But today's spooky figure doesn't just appear on Halloween, but they are quite terrifying in retrospect. It is the famous paralysis demon known as the Hat Man. Yep, the Hat Man is a shadow person of mysterious pedigree, right? We don't know what he is or what have you, what characteristics are unique to him, and how they overarch some cultural differentiation, right? So why people in all across the world claim to see the same type of figure. So it is interesting, but much like the notion of machine elves, yeah, human brains are going to fabricate similar ominous figures. But regardless, let's listen to some of this story. This is a long one, so I may speed it up here. I don't know. We'll see how fast they talk.
Imagine for a moment that you're alone in your room. The world outside is silent, save for that incessant ticking.
And let me know if everything sounds all right. If I need to turn anything up, I sure can. But yeah, it sounds good to me.
Time seems to stretch endlessly. Then, a sense of unease starts to creep in, crawling up your spine. You feel eyes on you, but you're alone, aren't you? In the darkened corners of countless rooms around the world, a figure lurks. Tall, faceless. Its almost defining feature, a wide-brimmed hat. This is no ordinary intruder. He doesn't want your possessions. He wants something far more precious. Your peace of mind. The Hat Man. An entity whispered about in hushed tones in online forums. Spoken of with a mix of fear and intrigue.
Time stretches endlessly as I'm listening to Otangelo. That's Otangelo's take on time. Let's see, I'm going to speed him up 1.5. He's talking slow enough.
In countless anecdotes. His silhouette is unmistakable, introducing terror in those he visits. What is he? A shadow? A demon? An imprint from another time or dimension?
Now, I get that the delivery is part of the experience here, so I understand that this channel is presenting it this way to to give you like chills, right? But I'm sorry. Time is precious. Even though he thinks it's ticking away endlessly, so I'm speeding you up. I'm sorry if it loses the atmosphere. If you're here for atmosphere, that's not what my channel's about. Mostly, I'm about debunking this, and we're gonna go into like the sleep paralysis stuff and everything in as we go through this. So.
In this episode, we peel back the layers of this enigma, seeking answers to a mystery that has haunted sleepless nights for many. Since the dawn of civilization, humanity has been pursued by its shadows. Ancient tales speak of darkened figures lurking on the peripherals of our vision. Transient, yet persistently present.
I love Darkman. Yes, I remember Darkman, Mark. He looks like Darkman, doesn't he? This one especially. This could be Darkman. Like if they made a Darkman comic, this could be Darkman, right? Based on the look here. I'm with you. Yes, Liam Neeson was awesome in that movie. He plays you watch him go crazy, from a straight edge scientist to he goes crazy and starts to lose himself a bit, and you see his mental state develop. He invents this fake skin that he can make himself look like other people, but it only lasts for a certain amount of time, like a matter of hours. Yeah, it's a good one.
Cave paintings of prehistoric eras to the old tomes of medieval scholars.
I would like to see some backing of the Hat Man appearing in prehistoric cave paintings. Let me see. Hat Man cave paintings. This is on my research screen. So just so you all know, when I look this way, it's research screen. When I look this way, I'm watching the video with you all. And when I look this way, I'm talking right to you, sweetheart. All right, let's see. Images. There's just a lot of images of people. But you know why? Because they didn't have this type of hat during the Upper Paleolithic. They just didn't. I imagine they probably had hoods and stuff and like maybe some caps, but brimmed hats. I don't know. Maybe there was some culture that had a brimmed hat as part of their native dress. I don't want to assume that, especially someplace where it's rainy, a lot of rain. I bet hats were invented early in places where there was a lot of rain.
There's a recurrent theme: shadows that walk and watch. But among these shadowy figures stands one that is distinct: the Hat Man. Unlike the fleeting, indistinct entities of lore, his form is more pronounced.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't say for sure when we started wearing hats, because hats aren't something that show up in the fossil record like clothing and stuff isn't. But I would imagine the first hats were probably made out of like thatched, like grasses or some kind. I would anticipate that, and that doesn't really preserve very well. Well, it can under the right conditions. Or leather was probably one of the earlier, or just a hide, just a pelt. Was probably one of the earliest forms of headwear. Slap a raccoon up there like Davy Crockett. Of course, yeah, we're talking about Upper Paleolithic, so no Davy Crockett because there are no raccoons because we were still in Eurasia. Humans were. So maybe what could you replace the coonskin cap with if you were a caveman? A beaver skin cap, maybe? A badger skin cap? Ooh, I don't know if I'd want to try to hunt a badger with a wooden spear. Sounds dangerous. But I guess they had domestic dogs and stuff too, so because we've had dogs domesticated since like almost 40,000 years ago. Now I'm getting off tangent, so let me get back to the Hat Man.
Or deliberate. Towering over 6 feet tall, this shadowy figure dons a wide-brimmed hat, often likened to a fedora or an old-fashioned gambler's hat. His attire varies, sometimes seen in a cloak.
I always thought it was like a pork pie hat, like Walter White. A fedora, though, maybe. I don't know what the other hat he was talking about is. This looks like a mini stovepipe hat to me. Maybe this is the one he was talking about at a galley or whatever. I'll hear what he says.
Fedora or an old-fashioned gambler's hat.
Old-fashioned gambler's hat. I don't know what that means, but assuming adjust my mic here just a second because it's in my way. All right.
Hive varies, sometimes seen in a cloak, other times in a suit, but always that hat, as if it holds some significant meaning. While many shadow beings inspire a sense of unease, the Hat Man's presence is uniquely unsettling. Some describe a weight to his stare, a chilling intent behind those featureless eyes. But what sets him apart from the most is his interaction. He doesn't merely...
So, how do I get an interaction? How do I get an interview with this guy? I want to... If, you know... Is he one of these figures that if you like talk about him and engage with him, he'll just appear to you, or engage with the lore around him, he'll just appear to you, like Slender Man? If I'm making this video about him, am I gonna encourage him to come visit me so I can have a one-on-one, like I sit down and have that interview? And if I do, I got my device. See how pretty my phone case is? Look at that. Got flowers and stuff on it. I wanted a clear Bumblebee one, but they were sold out. And we didn't have the one that they did have wasn't for my phone. But I digress. That's a SCP Foundation needs to know. Yeah. Am I one of the undesirables or whatever that they send down into the... the staircase was always my favorite SCP. The endless staircase that just goes down and down forever and ever. Yeah, give me some of that. I wish there was real lore like that somewhere. There's not, but I wish there was. Come on, Hat Man, entertain us.
He watch. He engages, manifests, and, on occasion, communicates. But what does he want? What message or intent does he convey? Our first tale of an encounter comes from a rural town, set among vast fields of peanut plants.
Mm-hmm.
A small community carrying the whispers of old legends. The land, as per local hearsay, once cradled the remains of Native Americans, a burial ground imbued with memories of bygone eras.
Of course, there's got to be unconfirmed lore about Indian burial grounds, Native American burial grounds. It's trope-tastic at this point. When it was used in Stephen King's Pet Sematary, it wasn't even a fresh thing. It'd been folklore about Indian burial grounds. That's what they would call them. I know it's Native Americans, but they'd call them Indian burial grounds. The ones here are called Indian mounds. But there's folklore around them that goes back as long as Europeans have been in the Western world. So you got AI creations. Heck yeah, send me AI creations over on Discord, or you can send them to me if you share them on Twitter and tag me in them, or you can DM them to me on Twitter. Send me, I like if you have CrypticCorner AI creations or real art that you've created, whatever, send it to me and I can start doing like an art segment at the end of CrypticCorner where we look at what the AI created for us. I would love to start doing that. So yes, please make that happen. And I mean, maybe I'll do this one. At the end of this show, I might share some of my AI Bigfoot stuff.
A man working the night shift at the peanut harvesting plant would occasionally regale his family with stories. Not tales of the unusual challenges faced by a night security guard, but of eerie sightings. Sightings of a man, dressed head to toe in black, crowned with a flat-brimmed hat. Not known as... Right,
now we're in the U.S., so it can't be cavemen, because there was no early hominids at all, or early Homo sapiens in North America. There were only anatomically modern humans.
As the Hat Man here, but rather the Man in Black. On a particular night, something the original teller of the story had done had deeply upset his mother. The gravity of the transgression he couldn't remember, but it was severe enough for her to drive him and his siblings to their father's workplace for discipline. A trip that would prove to be unforgettable. Upon their arrival, tensions were palpable. The father's wrath became all-consuming, and he lifted the child, pointing him toward the vast dark expanse of the old country road. There, illuminated only by the dim blue hue of the plant security lights, stood the unmistakable figure of the Man in Black. words exchanged between the father and the mysterious entity are the stuff of nightmares. An invitation, chillingly conveyed, for the child to be brought closer, to join this haunting figure in the abyss of the dark field. Terrified sobs filled the car. The siblings shared glances of horror.
Dad of the year we're talking about here. Father of the year. Well, maybe burials go back a long time. Didn't Homo Sediba maybe do burials? True. But it wouldn't be, well, I guess that would be indigenous in a way. Yeah, that would be, I would consider all African hominids indigenous populations. I think that's fair. If you are so into the cemetery scene, Concordia in El Paso is a must-do. I will check it out. Australopithecus.
Confirming that this was no mere figment of imagination, but a very real, shared terror. The entity's demand echoed in their ears.
Does the Hat Man smell like mothballs? Musty and old? Old Spice? Interesting inquiries there.
But as quickly as the episode had begun, it ended, leaving behind nothing but a haunting void and the whispers of the wilderness. In the aftermath, the events seemed to blur into the tapestry of childhood memories, with even their father professing no memory of that fateful night. Yet, for the original teller of this story, and his brother, the incident remains a chilling reminder of the unexplained.
So they think their dad brought them to the Hat Man and was like, hey, here's my kids for sacrifice. And the Hat Man's like, come into the darkness with us. I'm the only one who wants to know what this thing smells like. My sleep paralysis demon didn't have any smell at all. I don't remember any smell. She was noisy though. Her feet patted on the floor like flippers, and she breathed really heavy and excited. And I was frozen and couldn't do anything. And she couldn't make anything out of her besides that she had hair. It was it was. I don't want to make it sound silly because it wasn't. It was more like Cousin It, but it was her hair from her head covering everything. Sort of like a cross between Cousin It and the what's the girl from The Ring or whatever, with the hair hanging in the face, and then but the hair wasn't like long and silky. It was ratty and manged or mangled, tangled and unkempt with knots and rats in it. And I could feel it while she was pushing on my chest. I could feel the hair brushing my face and brushing my chest or my stomach on either side. So she was leaning on my chest like that. She's only this tall, little bitty, the size of one of my kids. Because at first, when it first walks in, I think it's one of my kids coming into the room, right? When it first walks in, I think it's one of my kids. And this thing visited me while I was doing an overnight shift. While I was working overnights, it sucked. But I really liked the job I was doing because I was taking care of disabled people. It was really, really enriching. So it would come padding into the room, and I'd think it was one of my small children because it was so small. And then it would I'd hear the excited breathing and be like, hey, wait a second, because it sounded like a adult breathing, And then it would get up to the side of the bed and just push on my chest and freak me out for about what felt like an eternity, but was over probably in just a few minutes. And I'd have to get up and turn the light on, and it was awful. It would happen on the weekends when I was working overnights through the week. So it would happen on the weekends when I was trying to sleep at night. When during the week I was trying to stay awake at that time. So my brain's like, oh, it's the time to try to stay awake, and my body's like, no, it's good, we're home, we can go to sleep. So they work against each other, and then it's visitor every weekend. And it is terrifying, but I know but I know it's not a real thing that's happening. My mind has created this construct of what something awful coming to visit me in the night would be like. So, and it's creating it. Sorry, I'm going on this tangent. We're only 6 minutes into a 27-minute video. Let's get rolling.
They often revisit the tale, attempting to decipher the identity and intent of the mysterious man in black. Who was he? A lingering spirit? A guardian of the land? Or perhaps the Hat Man himself? Imagine a feeling of wakefulness, yet an inability to move. The weight of an unseen force pressing down on you, binding your limbs, silencing your screams. It's in these vulnerable moments, ensnared between the realms of wakefulness and sleep, that many claim to have encountered sinister figures. The medical world has a term for this sensation: sleep paralysis, a phenomenon where one awakes, mentally alert, yet physically paralyzed. A glitch in the brain's mechanics, where the mind is roused before the body.
Have I told you guys about that experience before? About my sleep? I know I talked about it quite a bit on Perspective when I was taking the call-ins, but I didn't know if I've talked about it much on this show. At least not in a long time. So some of you might have been, that's the first time you were introduced to that. But yeah, I had a strong belief in the supernatural. And this was actually one of the things that helped me break free of my beliefs in the supernatural, was this experience. But yeah, I didn't know if I told you guys that or not. Yeah, child's breathing sounds more hollow and light. Yeah, yeah, and I recognize my kids, at least to some extent. But you know, it was scary.
Creating a sensation of entrapment. During these episodes, hallucinations often emerge from the mind's darkest corners. Shadowy figures, pressure on the chest, and a sense of impending doom are all commonly reported experiences. Could it be that in these moments of vulnerability, the mind tries to interpret this paralysis, this feeling of being watched or even threatened, by conjuring up the image of the Hat Man, an embodiment of terror one feels in the throes of sleep paralysis? But here's where the debate rages. If the Hat Man is simply a manifestation of our brains during sleep paralysis, why do so many across cultures and continents describe a near-identical figure? Is it a universal archetype embedded deep within our collective subconscious? Or is there something more tangible, more external at play?
So, riddle me this, because my visitor is not the Hat Man. My visitor was the Hag. The Hag is also known, common manifestation of sleep paralysis when it's across the globe, right? Actually, the Hag, I would say, is more prominent than the Hat Man, because the Hag goes way back. You can see medieval paintings of the Hag. The term hag-ridden is coined based on the visage of the sleep paralysis demon that I encountered. And I think that there is maybe something epigenetic to humans that has us fear a certain archetype of an unknown entity, unknown being invading your space and wanting to do unknown stuff to you, right?
In the realm of inexplicable and chilling encounters, in this next tale, we delve into the story of a woman named Lilla, name changed for anonymity. Lilla had been no stranger to the paranormal from a young age. As a child, between the ages of 8 and 10, within the confines of her family's apartment, she experienced bizarre incidents. A table fan spontaneously turning itself on, even when there was no one around. Such events, though startling, were relatively harmless. However, Lilla's life took a dark turn when her family moved into a new house. This rustic abode, surrounded by property and an adjoining barn, initially felt like an idyllic place. But as the seasons changed, so did the energy within its walls. Following a cheerful summer...
There's that word, energy. Whenever we get into this this topic of... I don't want to... maybe I do want to... of woo, right? I was saying I don't want to call it woo, but, you know, I do want to call it woo because that's what it is. It's essentially just a natural phenomena that happens within the human brain that other people want to attribute all kinds of supernatural explanation to when it's just not necessary, right? It's not needed.
And autumn. Tragedy struck. In January, Lilla's father succumbed to an unforeseeable medical complication. The impact of this loss drove a wedge between Lilla and her mother, both drowning in their respective pools of grief. In her quest for answers, Lilla started questioning her Christian faith. Unable to find solace, she was drawn to a distorted version of Satanism. She began to perform her own sacrificial rituals.
Oh, the devil's coming into it. You will hear religious people associate sleep paralysis and sleep paralysis demons and all these shadow people that people experience in this hypnopompic state. You will hear them describe it as a demonic attack. They generally draw that connection. So it's not surprising that the Hat Man would be associated or would be an expression or manifestation of sleep paralysis to someone who was dabbling into the occult,
involving burning her own hair and blood. Not long after, a slew of sinister events began to plague Lilla. At night, hushed voices whispered outside her windows. An overwhelming fear consumed her whenever she stepped out after sunset, as if unseen entities were mere inches away from grabbing her. Taking showers in the dark became a terrifying ordeal, with the unnerving sensation of being watched. One particular chilling incident remained seared in Lilla's memory. While talking on the phone, with her curtains open and candles lit, she caught a glimpse of two fiery orbs in her window's reflection, hovering above the candle flames. To Lilla's horror, the position of these orbs suggested that whatever was looking in was around 7 feet tall. Inside the house, Lilla often dreamt of a deceased little blonde girl in the attic. Her room's walls would
Was she a 7 foot tall little blonde girl, though? That's the question.
mysteriously light up with glow-in-the-dark scribbles. She also experienced sleep paralysis frequently. But the climax of her horrifying encounters took place one fateful night. Hearing footsteps in the hallway and sensing someone enter her room, Lilla presumed it to be her mother, or perhaps a pet. However, when she decided to check, she was met with a horrifying sight of a silhouette. A shadow figure, known as the Hat Man. Frozen with fear, Lilla darted to her mother's room. Only later did Lilla learn, when they first moved into the house, her mother...
Yeah, I couldn't imagine taking a shower in the dark. I've taken baths with candles before, but I've never taken a shower in the dark. Does sound dangerous to me, I agree.
Had sensed a malevolent energy. She had invited church members to bless each room. Decades have passed since Lilla's family left the house, yet its haunting memories still linger. She occasionally dreams about it, each dream as vivid and unnerving as the events that transpired within its walls. Lilla's story serves as a chilling reminder that sometimes houses harbour more than just memories. In the unseen corners of our world, mysteries remain, awaiting their next moment to step into the light. In the vast universe of supernatural lore, few entities elicit as much speculation, fear, and intrigue as the Hat Man. Who or what is this elusive figure? Is he a demon? A lost soul? An explorer from another dimension? Or merely a manifestation of our shared consciousness? Many argue that the Hat Man is demonic in nature, pointing to the palpable fear and dread that those who encounter him often describe. These feelings are said to be distinct, far more intense than the usual chill one might get from a typical ghostly presence.
What is the scale here of how scary a ghost is or a supernatural entity is? Operating under the assumption that they're all a manifestation, right, of the brain. How afraid you are is going to be subjective to your independent interpretation of what's happening to you. So if what's happening to you, what's being manifested in the hypnopompic state, which is the state where your brain is still making things like it does in your dreams, making things happen to interact with, that engage with you while you're dreaming. It's still manifesting those, but you find yourself laying in the dark because your part of your brain that is aware of your surroundings is awake. It's called a hypnopompic state. And when you're in that state, things from your dream state will manifest in reality, like next to you and interacting with you and interacting with the room and and this can happen when you're driving too. I took a road trip to Dallas, Texas, and drove way too long. Was trying to make it down there, left after work and trying to make it down there overnight. It's a 13-hour drive, and when I got about to the Oklahoma-Texas border, I actually started hallucinating giant biped stuff crossing the street, and I pulled over and slept in a a rest stop. I was like, oh shit, I gotta get out of this. I guess I have a lot of hypnopompic stimulation, or at least I used to when I was younger, and it's not always stuff like that. Another time and this was the scariest thing that ever happened, hypnopompic thing that ever happened to me. I actually got up out of bed in this state and drove 10 miles into town, and I woke up in a gas station parking lot, like the gas station I'd always go to before work, but it was like 2 a.m. Really weird stuff like that would just happen. But so I don't do that. I don't. And that was actually looking back on it. That was when I was on Chantix, the quitting smoking thing, because I used to smoke. I used to be a avid smoker. So, what should we call it? The Bree scale. Guy with a cowboy hat broke into a home to kidnap a child. The siblings saw him. Finally got identified years later, and the guy definitely wore a cowboy hat. Crazy. They thought the kid was imagining it for years because it was at night, and the kid basically described him as the Hat Man. Oh my goodness, that's terrifying to think that someone could break in and kidnap a child, and then the child describes it, and because there's this folklore, they're like, yeah, Chantix. Oh. LOL, I had a friend at the club that went crazy on Chantix. Yeah, it was not I was not successful on the Chantix. I quit by switching to vape, and then over time slowly grossing myself out with the vape. Of course, I shouldn't judge. People can quit however they want. If Chantix is right for you, talk to your doctor about it.
The Hat Man, with his piercing eyes and distinct silhouette, often invokes feelings reminiscent of ancient tales of demonic oppressions. Another perspective suggests that the Hat Man might be a particularly powerful or distinct ghost. Perhaps he was a figure of authority or menace in his past life, and his lingering energy reflects that power. Encounters with the Hat Man...
What do you mean past life? He's not like a person. He didn't have a life. He's a manifested entity of hypnopompic state, like the hag. They're all similar entities that are generated by alternative phenomena, like the machine elves that people encounter, and there's also the fairies that people sometimes encounter in a hypnopompic state, alien abduction, or the greys, and all these insectoids that abduct people in their sleep. These are all manifestations of a hypnopompic state. So it varies, but there are definitely some archetypes that are more common or manifest more often with the population. Again, like I said, mine was the hag. So most people that I've talked to have described something similar to the hag. I've only talked to a couple of people who had Hat Man experiences, but I have talked, as I said, on the perspective, I talked to a ton of people who had alien experiences.
Are more tangible and pronounced than with other spirits, leading some to believe he might be a soul with a specific mission or purpose, trapped between realms. In the age of quantum physics and theories about multiple dimensions, some posit that the Hat Man is not of our world or dimension at all.
Holy crap, Ember. I worked 30 hours straight. When I tried to drive home on the road, I hallucinated a Jeep ahead of me with a giraffe, or that it was a giraffe. I knew it was a Jeep, and my eyes insisted, that's a giraffe, yo. Ember. I've seen a lot of black dogs, but never one out to get meatloaf in particular. I had a friend who hallucinated a black dog, or I shouldn't say hallucinated. I don't know what the circumstance was. Maybe it was a real dog, but they said it was like it stood like 4 foot tall at the shoulder and didn't have a head. People see Dog Man crossing the road and stuff too.
Instead, he could be an interdimensional traveller, able to move between planes of existence. His appearances might be mere moments of his dimension brushing up against ours, leaving those who witness him profoundly affected. Could it be that the Hat Man is a creation of our collective psyche?
Well, definitely with you there. Tsunami says, I feel like the Hat Man may have some vague foundation in the Jack the Ripper top hat perp myth. Yeah, the idea, the archetype in the human psyche of the menacing figure is a dark, especially in more modern times, is a dark figure that you can't make out anything about them because they're covered in a coat or cloak and their head's covered with a hat. And like that's who's lurking in the foggy alleyway or waiting in the dark woods. Is this cray cray with a hat and a lust for human destruction. We're ingrained with this from childhood to be this is the stranger danger. This is when you look at a sign for like community watch. Actually, let's pull that up here. All right, here we go. Just a second. So just to put in context what me and Tsunami are talking about here, this is the figure. Oh, I hate how this is always offset like that. Let me see. But you all see what I'm talking about. It's literally what they show as stranger danger. Right? Some aspect of a shady looking figure in a hat. This is an archetype in the human brain, right? The hag is also an archetype in the human brain. She is an archetype of the ancient witch, right? The more of a medieval minded entity, and that makes sense for someone like me who was into the neo-pagan scene, because that's the type of stuff that I was exposed to. But definitely the stranger danger guy is. I mean, I don't know if I'm the first person to point this out to all these. The Hat Man must be real because it's overarching, but yeah, it's just the same dangerous figure that we've always been shown since childhood, that's imprinted on our brains to tell us that this is a dangerous figure. There's one with a hood. Yeah. This one's got Google eyes on it. Much love for whoever did that. Yeah. So, right. Freddy Krueger draws inspiration from the Hat Man. And in the first movie, for all causes and purposes, he stays in the shadow and is very much like the Hat Man. He's built on that archetype as well. It's controlled by Community Watch. Shady figure. Warning. Boom. They're every one of them. So, yeah. Let's get back to our Hat Man, though.
Carl Jung spoke of archetypes, symbols shared among all of humanity, residing deep within our collective subconscious. The Hat Man could be one such archetype, representing shared fears, anxieties, or perhaps even shared histories. His recurring appearances across cultures and demographics might be a confirmation of the power of shared human experience.
I'm sorry, I need to keep interacting with you guys. I don't mean to like leave your comments unread. Where were we? Jack the Ripper. Okay, I drove from North Wisconsin to Tennessee. When I saw my house, I drove into a cornfield. Oh no, Dr. Mordecai. Sounds rough. There's a movie about it. I've seen cougars in the highway. I've never seen that. I've seen real wildlife in the highway. One time I saw a bear. The menacing, scary man, the top hat, and the long overcoat. Exactly, Tsunami. It is basically, I was basically contacted by spectral telemarketers once. Interesting. I like cougars. I do like cougars, both kinds. Jack, I guess I am kind of a cougar at this point. Jack was such a run-of-the-mill sexual sadist, though. LOL. I never realized the community watch guy is totally the same image, right? It's ingrained in our brain from an early age, and then they act like, oh, it's some bizarre phenomena. It doesn't matter where in the world you are. This is the shady guy with the hat is the image for stranger danger. The episode of Star Trek where Scotty is possessed by Jack the Ripper was pretty wild. I did not know that existed. Me and Ember kind of talk about Star Trek sometimes a little bit. I was a sort of a fan of the Next Generation. I loved the old ones though. I just the classics, but I haven't watched them all or anything. I used to just let them play in the background while I was working. We need to change the dangerous person archetype to a member of the clergy. Yeah, give him a white collar. Better late than not at all. Not sure how long I can hang, but we're happy to have you, Brian.
The truth about the Hat Man remains enigmatic. Is he a harbinger of doom, a lost soul, an interdimensional wanderer, or an embodiment of shared fears? Perhaps the ambiguity of his nature is what makes him all the more terrifying. For now, the Hat Man remains one of the most captivating and debated figures in supernatural folklore, challenging our
He's just the stranger danger archetype. Chill, dude.
understanding of reality, existence, and the very fabric of our psyche. Sarah had always been eager to share her haunting experience, and every time she did, skepticism and disbelief were her only rewards. Yet, this encounter was engraved so deeply in her memory that even after 20 years, the chilling sensation...
I mean, I'm a skeptic, so I'm going to be skeptical and disbelief too. Maybe I'm overly skeptical, but that's just from from spending years exploring the grift, right? Exploring all the aspects of it, because I was like literally looking for anything that was real, and everything I found when I turned it over, it's like, this is just BS. It was always cold reading and natural phenomena and hoaxes and everything else.
remained. When Sarah was around 6 or 7 years old, her family resided in an ancient 200-year-old cottage nestled in the heart of a dense forest. Her father had chosen this isolated place after some personal setbacks, and they had few neighbours due to the remote location. One fateful night, a roll of thunder awakened her. As Sarah tried to drift back into sleep, a fleeting movement in her peripheral vision caught her attention. The sudden icy chill and the standing of her hair on end signalled an eerie presence. She turned to her left, and the sight that met her eyes left her paralysed with fear. A shadow figure stood right beside her bed, appearing as a pitch-black silhouette of a tall, broad man. But the dark entity seemed to be draped in a collared cape from the Victorian era, crowned with a distinct brimmed hat. Sarah couldn't discern any facial features, but
this time the Shadow Man wore his fancy dress to visit.
shadow's presence was so overwhelming that she felt it staring directly at her. It swayed subtly, as if it were breathing, amplifying the terror she felt. Sarah could move.
See, my sleep paralysis demon did have... It was visual and audible, but it did not have any olfactory presence at all to me. And most of the sleep paralysis demons that you hear about don't have any olfactory influence. I don't know why, if it's just that part of the brain is not wired in with, because it's just like in your dream you manufacture sound and you manufacture visuals, but I don't know. I don't remember dreaming about smells ever. I don't know if there's any, if that's sustainable. Is anytime that I think that there's a smell in your dream, I think it correlates to actual smells that are existing in reality. It's not fabricated. Like you can smell a pie baking and find out that your mom's baking a pie in your kitchen or something. You could smell. You could dream about a fire and actually wake up and there's a fire in your house.
Contrary to what some said about sleep paralysis, but she was too afraid to. After what seemed like hours, tingling sensations from her motionless feet broke her focus. Eventually, the strain wore her out, and she succumbed to sleep. Upon waking the next morning, a wave of relief washed over her. As she prepared to leave the bed, the crinkling sound of a plastic bag beneath her desk startled her. Expecting it to be a mouse, she glanced over, only to witness the bag's handle shoot upward.
Oh man, we need to do a watch party of some Jack the Ripper documentaries sometime, Tsunami. We really, really do. I couldn't watch those with my ex. She was all like, yes, but so I didn't get to watch. I didn't get to watch any of that kind of stuff. I did watch. Don't mess with cats or whatever. The one about the model that was the killer. Yeah.
As if someone invisible had grabbed it. Terrified, she raced downstairs, skipping steps and almost stumbling. Her father immediately noticed her pale expression, jokingly asked if she'd seen a ghost. Little did he know how close he was to the truth. Years later, upon...
Ooh, interesting. You do have smell in your dreams, like independent smell. Maybe it's just me who doesn't have smell. I know when I read the reports, there's never any mention of a smell. My dreams have all senses. Take a walk by the olfactory. Let me know. I thought that it was just generally that I was the. I'm gonna do a poll. Do dreams have smells? Starting this poll. Yeah, let me know, because I thought that nobody had smell in their dream.
Discovering the phenomenon of the Hat Man online, Sarah learned that she wasn't alone in her experience. She also stumbled upon theories suggesting the shadowy figure often appeared during family crisis. This resonated with her, as her parents had recently divorced when she saw the figure. Even more unsettling was the notion that the Hat Man's appearance often preceded a tragic event. Not long after her experience, her father passed away. Sarah could never shake off the unease from that night, feeling as if the shadow had marked her in some way. Every time she recounted the tale, disbelief greeted her, but she always hoped to find someone else who would experience the same chilling presence. In the age of instant communication and global interconnectedness, the Hat Man's mythos has seen an unexpected resurgence. Unlike local legends or family tales that once remained confined.
Especially this one. This one, look at this right here. This one looks exactly like the stranger danger sign, doesn't it? Doesn't this look like a community watch sign? It'd be funny for somebody to go around dressed like this with the hat and the coat and take their picture by all these community watch signs. Or just stand by the community watch sign and like stare at it when people drive by. And I gotta say, for the folks that do have the sense of smell in their dreams, like, is it independent from what smells are present in the waking world? Like, I get it if there's like, you did like an apple pie candle burning and you had a dream that you were, at an apple pie festival or something, but I don't know.
Within limited geographies or cultures, the digital era has shattered these barriers, allowing stories to intermingle and cross-pollinate. The internet,
the Hat Man was part of Mothman's mythos ring. He was Indrid Cold that visited the Derringers, and I think I did a thing on Indrid Cold. So yeah, he's a special kind of Hat Man. No, he's not the sleep paralysis type. He's actually interacting with people in the waking world.
Particularly through forums, blogs, and social media platforms, has acted as a crucible, bringing together individuals from disparate backgrounds, but with strike.
I've smelled weed in my sleep, but it's because my partner was smoking without me, right? Aunt Jer has smell, taste, texture, and proprioception. I have certain smell. I've certainly smelled petrochlor in my better dreams. Yeah, but was it raining outside when you smelled that? Because we can smell petrochlor like through brick walls. Humans are like super. Maybe I'm saying that wrong. Let me know. But we are super honed in on that sense of smell. What are you saying about that? Annual solar, great, an annular solar eclipse today, and it's raining. It better not be doing this on April 8th when we're in the path of a total. Yeah. Damn spectral figures stealing Mothman's shit. Tetrachromancy is the condition of possessing 4 independent channels of conveying color, information, or possessing 4 types of cone cells in your eye. Tetrachromancy. Okay. Yes, the smells are experiential. If I'm dreaming, it's the Renaissance Festival. I smell mulch, turkey legs, cooking, for example. I want to be in your Renaissance Fair dream. Can you like Nightmare on Elm Street pull me into your dream so we can go to the Dream Renaissance Fair together and eat turkey legs and maybe ride some horses and I might buy like a brooch or something or a cloak. Ooh, a velvet cloak would be so cool.
Strikingly similar experiences. Platforms like Reddit, where personal accounts can be shared anonymously, have given people the freedom to relate their encounters without fear of judgment or ridicule. In doing so, they've discovered that their isolated experiences aren't so isolated after all. These shared narratives paint a detailed portrait of the Hat Man, his ominous silhouette, the distinct hat, the palpable sense of dread, and often, the uncanny timing of his appearances during personal crises. The Tulpa effect, a concept rooted in Tibetan mysticism, refers to the manifestation of thought into reality. In modern paranormal circles,
yes, Ember, take me on a dream date to your. I want to see the manifestation of your Renaissance Fair. It sounds like this is something that you actually experienced, right? So, what kind of stuff were they doing? Was there jousting? was there hat men there?
It implies that collective belief or intense concentration can give form and substance to previously intangible entities. As more and more individuals shared and read about the Hat Man online, it's conceivable, according to this theory, that the collective belief and fear began to feed this entity, granting it more power, or, to some, even existence. Is it possible that the digital age...
So you're saying that the stranger danger sign guy is a tulpa, basically, that we've manifested him into reality by propagating mythos about him. Interesting.
With his endless repositories of stories and the viral nature of tales, has inadvertently empowered the Hat Man. Could the collective psyche of countless individuals across the world, all concentrating on this shadowy figure, have given it more tangibility? Or, at the very least, reinforced its presence in our collective consciousness? Conversely, skeptics might argue that the proliferation of such stories simply means more exposure to the legend, leading more people to interpret their own unrelated experiences through the lens of the Hat Man mythos. It's the chicken and egg scenario. Are more people experiencing the Hat Man because of the stories they read online, or is the internet simply providing a platform for a phenomenon that's been happening for ages? The answers remain as elusive as the Hat Man himself. However, one thing is certain. The digital age has indelibly etched this shadowy figure into the annals of contemporary folklore, ensuring his tale will be whispered, debated, and feared for generations to come. For many, the encounter with the Hat Man doesn't...
Again, it's ironic that they don't mention that this is a symbol for stranger danger, right? They don't mention that at all throughout this whole video. That seems to be the main thing that they would want to focus on. Why the resurgence of this phenomena? Could it be because community watches became popular after 9/11 and people started to put these signs up everywhere, all over neighborhoods, and when they're also, this guy's also present on like surveillance signs and stuff, like, oh, this place is under surveillance and it'll show this guy. So this shady figure, they don't mention it once throughout the delivery of this content.
Doesn't end when the apparition fades. Victims frequently recount residual anxiety, insomnia, and a profound sense of being watched long after their initial experience. The level of detail in their recollections, the visceral physical sensations of cold, dread, and the instinctual sensation of being preyed upon suggest a traumatic event rather than a fleeting nightmare. The emotional toil can be debilitating. Some struggle to share their experiences, fearing disbelief or mockery. Others grapple with self-doubt, questioning their sanity, or desperately seeking rational explanations for what they witnessed. A few even adjust their routines, whether to avoid triggering memories.
I did, when I had my hagging experience, I had to adjust some of the stuff from my behavior to stop it from happening. Mostly it was just having something on the TV, or something that giving off moving light, I guess, is the main thing. It didn't have to have sound on or anything. It wouldn't happen in my room if it wasn't reasonably dark in the room.
Or in a bid to never encounter the figure again. In extreme cases, individuals seek therapy or counseling to cope with their experiences, further underscoring the profound impact of their encounters. When disparate individuals across time and space share eerily similar tales of the Hat Man, it challenges the dismissive notion of coincidence. Such a phenomenon has repercussions not only on a personal, but also on a societal level. For one, it poses fascinating questions about the interconnectedness of human experience. Are these stories testament to a collective subconscious, where age-old fears and archetypes manifest?
Yes, a collective or subconscious of cultural conditioning. Yeah, let's call it that.
In shared ways? Or do they hint at a more tangible, universal phenomenon that defies current understanding? The widespread nature of these experiences also influences culture. The Hat Man has inspired art, literature, and films, serving as a dark muse to creators intrigued by his mystique. As these stories permeate popular culture, they in turn influence the collective consciousness, further entrenching the Hat Man's mythos. As we reflect on the profound impact of the Hat Man encounters, it's worth considering the deeper truths they might reveal about shared human fears, about boundaries of perception and reality, and about the mysteries that remain, tantalizingly, just beyond our grasp. Whether seen as psychological phenomena or supernatural occurrences, the stories of the Hat Man highlight the intricate tapestry of human experience, where personal trauma...
Or, and again, beating a dead horse on this one, or they represent a example of cultural conditioning and its effect on human psychology. Let's give that as an option as well.
...weave seamlessly into collective folklore, leaving an indelible mark on society's psyche. Across the span of our explanation, we've journeyed through haunting tales, scientific theories, and cultural impacts surrounding the mysterious figure known as the Hat Man. This enigmatic entity with his featureless face and distinguishing hat lurks not just in the corners of dimly lit rooms, but also in the corridors of our minds, beckoning the question, what is he? And why does he appear to so many across the globe? This episode was written and narrated by me, James Everell. Thank you for watching or listening to this podcast episode on whichever platform you are choosing to do so, whether it is YouTube, Spotify.
Yep, so just to break this down real quick, Tales of High Strangeness is the channel. Pretty big channel, 104K subscribers. This was just from 3 weeks ago. So, yeah, let's go pop over and look and see what else they have to offer. There's the guy. See, they got their flagship video here as the Wendigo and Dogman stories, and see, lots of Wendigo. Very popular on the Wendigo, my friend. Let's see here. What else do we got? Who's this family? Haunted by a skinwalker. Ooh, spooky. What happened to these hikers? How can the phenomena be explained? Are hauntings real? How true are these conspiracies? Why they don't talk about the ancient sea creatures? We've been on those with just talking about that with Maya and friends a couple weeks ago. Yeah, so this is the kind of content they put out. Maybe we'll revisit this channel. I do like his delivery, and it would be interesting to see what else they have as far as opinions go on some of this phenomena. Anyhow, Tales of High Strangeness. That was our Cryptic Corner for today. I hope you all enjoyed that and learned a little bit about Hat Man and his alleged interaction with human society throughout the ages. Please remember to hit the like button and let me know if you enjoyed this video, if you got some commentary, if you have sleep paralysis experiences or have experiences with the Hat Man specifically, or with the hag that I discussed previously. Leave them in the comments down below. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to interact with you. And maybe if your story is interesting and engaging enough, I might even read it on one of our episodes. Right. And I did promise some AI artwork. So let me get that pulled up here. For today, we got this is Mothman and the Devil Monkeys was what I asked for on this one. It turned out pretty freaking weird, so I do appreciate some strangeness now and then. Kind of keeps things interesting. What else do I got here? Lots of weird stuff. Not all of it is to do with cryptids, though, so here we go. Let's do that one. This, I'll just use these two. Here's this one. This is called Hieroglyphs of Bigfoot and Aliens, and this is what it gave us. Look at that. Pretty interesting looking pieces, but none of them are what I asked for. This guy's looks like his teeth are made of bats hanging in the cave. Pretty weird stuff. All right, so there's some AI artwork for you, and that will wrap up and conclude this episode of Cryptic Corner. Hope you enjoyed this, and please remember to be kind, take care, and we will see you next time.